Dr. Barry Lund of News Melbourne. We're going to cross to Pennsylvania, and of course, we've got Anne here from Melbourne. I'd like to welcome David in Pennsylvania, and we're going to pester him with a few questions in relation to what's happening with Donald Trump. Is he coming back? And if so, when? And if not, how much trouble are we in? Over to you, David, in Pennsylvania.
Hello, Barry. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good to be back.
And don't forget Anne.
Hi, David.
Hello, man.
What's happening, David, with the situation? Actually, looking from our point of view, you guys are on a very slippery road downhill unless somebody does something to stop it. And when you guys sneeze, we catch cold, so we're in trouble.
Yeah, a lot of things are just optics, phony optics, CGI. Actors like Jim Carrey playing Biden a couple times, like literally. He played a movie in the mask and he wore a Biden mask, impersonating Biden. Good news is, a couple weeks ago, Trump visited the border wall with his normal motorcade. And just a couple of days ago, Trump flew in on Air Force One and had his normal, nice looking, polished car motorcade. He didn't have rent-a-wreck like everyone saw with Biden. So he came into Washington early morning, was there a very short time and left out again early morning. So I don't know what he did there, but he did a hit and run there and went somewhere else with his motorcade.
So is he? I've noticed he's still in Air Force One, which is rather strange, and he's got on videos I've seen on YouTube, and he's still driving around with that limo, the presidential limo. Is he still using all that gear, or is he obviously, if so, he must be still in power?
Yeah, that's all military stuff that the presidents use to roll around in. That's a military jet. That's the his normal security like he always had. But the report is, the military seeing all the fraud before even the new year, the evidence of the fraud, put him in the office of the Republic, actually the first of the year.
Oh, right.
But that's been the scuttlebutt. So that's why he's been doing everything and going everywhere with the Air Force One, and that's domestic and overseas, and with his normal security detail and motorcade.
So therefore, it could be seen, as they say, on reasonable grounds that the administration that's supposed to be in now really isn't in there at all. It's just mostly an illusion or taking place in a studio, which they've done a lot of their administration from when they're going for elections. So the whole thing is sitting on a very big ice cube at the moment. So the whole thing is going to sink and crash. Would that be fair enough to say?
Yeah, we were told that they're allowing things to play out like what their normal plan was to wake people up. So, and then when it gets to a certain point, that's going to be it. They're going to put a halt to it.
And have you got any questions?
No, but I know that, like David said, it is to wake the normies up. I believe it's a show. It's to wake the normies up, and then when it's time, it'll be time. That's how I see it. So I'm pretty positive in that.
Yeah, well, something has to happen, because if they carry on the way they're carrying on now, we're all doomed. And I mean, global warming. I mean, we got idiots here. We had a couple of wet days, and the idiots were protesting in the rain about global warming. So I mean, how stupid can you be? And
I think global warming was created as a fear factor in like 1900 or 1890, like somewhere way back when. I've seen the research on that, and when it was actually created to make it like a fear thing. And yeah, I think it was around 1900 when it was, they brought up the whole global warming thing.
Yeah, well, Al Gore capitalized on it and made him a very wealthy man. But global warming is a fact because I watch Life at Zero, which is done in Alaska, and it definitely has warmed up. But the thing is, it's a natural progression, and in fact, we're heading back to the ice age, which will take thousands of years to get back there. So it's just a normal progression from ice age to hot age and back
They're
again.
manipulating the weather, Barry.
Yeah. Did it really warm up, or did they use weather control to warm
Well,
it up?
we have the 1967 Rainmaking Control Act here. So what does that tell you? But they manipulate that weather as well, and then they're going to turn around and say, "Oh, it's global warming. Oh, the sky's going to fall."
That former governor in America, he introduced and told the world about HARP up in Alaska, that HARP situation where they warm up the atmosphere and in a certain direction. Is that HARP still up and running in America? Have you heard of the HARP?
Yeah, the HARP stuff is supposed to be the major weather control stuff is supposed to be down now. The deep state's not supposed to have control of that anymore. They only have, the word is that they only have control of some of the aerosols going on.
Oh,
And that's it.
I think sorry.
The skies around here have been a lot clearer the past couple weeks. It's severely less chemtrailing. It was clear early today, I think, and then I think Rob said that all of a sudden there was some chemtrails and some rain and stuff. And but for the most part, it's been normal clouds.
I think people should look at on Netflix. And I don't work for Netflix, so I'm not advertising for them. The blacklist, and if people were to watch that, it starts off rather slow, and I looked at it and gave it up. But if you persist past the first few episodes, it really tells you what's going on. The president of the United States is nothing more than a puppet for the people who run the show, as the people with the money, the billionaires and stuff. They makes the president, up until Donald Trump popped in, there was nothing more than a puppet, but he wouldn't play their game, and that's why they work so hard to destroy the man. And you can't put a good man down. He'll be back soon, I hope. If not, we'll have to crusade with our attack on the crooked system with common law, which we've had as you know, David, we had a very successful case here, and we've got a lot more planned than you guys in Pennsylvania organizing the settlement. It doesn't happen overnight, so you're just waiting for John Smith which is very busy in London. He's had a very big success. He's forced a normal court, in a magistrate's court in London, this week right now, to install a jury, which is like, it's got to be really painful for the fictional system. But now they have to put up with a common law jury in their court without any choice, and that's thanks to the people. It's not John Smith on his own. It's the people of the UK and the International Common Law Court have forced the situation upon them because they have no choice but to obey the people. The people out of power need to make a U-turn here in Australia and America and Ireland, all these other countries, and say enough is enough. And fight back lawfully.
And here's something with the what people don't know about what it means to have a jury of your peers. That comes from the peerage. Okay, when you require a jury of your peers, that means the peerage, they can't be like here in America, it can't be a US citizen. That has to be men and women. It can't be US person. Same thing over there. Over there, maybe, you have Australia, this, that, and the other thing, but technically you're all still US persons because you're under that corporate umbrella.
Yes, exactly. Talking about persons.
If you're in the court over there, let's say one of their courts, and you ask for a jury of my peers, you got to tell them, and that means from the peerage. It cannot be persons.
You got to be living men and women.
Yes.
So you're still doing IDs over there. That's very important. I've been telling people here, they've got to get out of that fictional system, stop identifying themselves. Yes, that's it.
Look
lovely.
To this with your own flag on there, barcodes, QR blocks, the whole 9 yards. IDs, decree of ownership of the United States, medical exemptions through our environmental court with our court clerk stamp on them. Office of the Republic identifications as well, because that's one of the offices that people don't know about over here. When you're talking to these revenue agents, you talk to them from your office of the Republic. You know, what flag are you flying? Like, this is the Office of the Republic identification.
Yeah.
And it has the real American flag on there that George Washington implemented in 1791. So that's usually around my neck. In my private one is usually in my side cargo pocket. But
Well,
yeah, what's in your pocket is either going to save you or it's going to get you in trouble. Now, don't go providing an ID like this, but have a driver's license from the state or in your pocket. Because that last name is the corporation, is the title, is the slave name.
If you're going to identify yourself as a person, and how do you do that? You produce their IDs, the driving license, your passport, Medicare card here in Australia, other country. You says, yes, I'm a person. Nail me to the plastic cross. But if you say, hey, excuse me, in now time, I am a living man or a living woman, and there's my identification. Really, that shouldn't be the end of the conversation, because the dead cannot communicate with the living. If they think so, well, then somebody's got a problem in that communication department.
Yep, all persons are owned by the state.
Well, that happened with the Act of 1666, and I think it was the 5th of September, 1666, when Mr. Lequy, where they said, "Oh, men and women dead." And you know what? I always ask young solicitors this question. And I asked a very good friend of mine, which I hope to catch up tomorrow, which is a barrister for the last 30 years and in the Supreme Court in Melbourne. And I said, possession of 9/10 of the law, who owns the other bit? And none of the old or the young could answer it. And the titles, and they went, the law schools are not teaching them anything that's of any use in relation to a fair dinkum, if you like, fair dinkum case, because they're institutionalized in how to put the paperwork in and what's their system. But I mean, that goes back to 1666. The Vatican own all the titles. They even own your souls if you allow them.
Yeah, they claim to own your soul.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, possession is 9/10 of the law, 1/10 is title, but the title is shit. It's just a piece of paper. And if you don't have an agreement between two living men or women on there, wedding signatures, then it's void anyway.
And a good example of that, if this phone, if you're in possession of that phone, you've stole it, it's in possession. So 9/10 of the law, yes, I own it, but do you have the title? No. So then you don't own it. Like having a receipt.
And when you're trying to live in the private, you got to know how to jump in and out of the person. So, like if a police officer says, "Well, is that your phone? What name is it in?" Well, oh, I borrowed this from a person. If you have an automobile with state registration plates on it, you borrowed that vehicle from a person. Don't say it's yours.
Yeah.
So
Well, if it's ready,
if they come up with a last name on the plate and they say that it's you, and then they're guilty of aggravated identity theft. They're trying to make you another name that you're not. But you borrowed that vehicle, private automobile, whatever, from that person. If you have that at the state tags on there.
I like that's a good one, because really anything registered they own anyway. So you say, well, this in Victoria we can say that, well, the vehicle, I borrowed that vehicle, or I'm the registered keeper in now time of that registered vehicle, but it belongs to Vic Roads. And as a man, anything that's registered is not mine. Well, I registered my car and must do this other one now with the common law court. So you put your registration in there. The common law court in the UK sends you back. It's an automatic response. So now the Vic Roads in our case here, or the government, wherever you like, there's another organization claiming ownership, so they can't take it off you anymore.
Right. And now, I shared on one of our other shows that we did that, the international customs number, that registered mail number that's on everyone's identification, that's activated. I make people tags for automobiles with that same number on it. So it's an internationally registered, replacement for a state license plate.
That's a good idea. You could actually put that on the beside the normal number plate,
I
the
showed it to
ownership
you, didn't I?
international. I like that.
I could share a screen right now and show you one real quick.
Yeah, go on then.
You're not a member of the bar, so you can't answer any legal questions. But that's the plate right there. So that's an actual number on someone's identification.
Right.
And that barcode is the same number, of course. And then up here, this other barcode says Sovereign Living Soul, all rights reserved, and all that is embedded in this barcode right there. This QR block right here,
Yeah.
that is the same QR block that's on the man or woman's identification.
Ah,
So it has their given name and everything all embedded in there.
that's
All rights
excellent.
reserved. Yeah, living soul, you know, Sovereign Living Soul, their title if they have a title. Yeah, so all that stuff is right there. So it come together pretty nicely as a design.
Oh, so
Now,
that's
up here,
is
you
that
know,
a,
you have-
is, yeah, is that a original? That is an actual, or sorry, their number plate, but you've added in those extra bits. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, well, this I created this plate out of their number. Okay, and this one happens to be for, you know, the Republic of the United States. So it has the actual American flag in the upper left-hand corner, and then it has the person's his flag in the right corner. Like, you can always do your own custom plate, not being, let's say, I'm just talking like here in the United States, in America. You can have one that's not one, you know, the Republic for the several states of the Union, and just have it your nation in the left-hand side, which would be the ultimate authority. Whatever flag it comes first in authority is always on the upper left.
Oh,
And then anything that's in treaty with is on the right.
the number itself, that large number, is that registered? Is that their system? Is that a proper
That's
number
their
plate?
same number that would be on their identification.
Oh, okay.
So
So
on
that
the
number plate.
bottom, that number on the bottom,
Yeah.
it's the same active number.
So you just added in the extra bits there to claim ownership, or the fact that you're not a person but you're a living man.
Right, like they got their full identity also embedded with this plate.
Oh, that's
With
a
the
great
QR code.
idea. I like that. Well, in fact, they can take, if the plates here are registered with the International Common Law Court, and this has happened with a few people who insist on driving around with no driving license, which I think is crazy because you've got no insurance in this place. It has worked. Yeah, it has worked.
Here's the most important thing right here, non-US person.
Yeah,
All rights reserved. You know, this one's under the divine creator. And since I'm under the law, the divine creator, you know, I'm an heir to the kingdom of heaven. So that's here on the side. Sovereign living soul, the whole 9 yards, my flag protocol. That's on average what an identification would look like with whoever's, you know, it is, their flag will be up here because they're under that authority. They're self-governed. It's very plain that they're not a US person. So, which means the states and the federal government don't have jurisdiction over that.
I was at a Zoom meeting last week, and they're all going on about the common law courts and how it's not, you can't run one here in Australia because we don't have a monarchy. That's what they're saying. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, but it's got nothing to do with the monarchy. The common law is to do with God. So why do you have to have a figurehead? So this group's going around saying this. They talk about other things, and they're also getting involved in quantum grammar. I think I'm in a signal group with them, but I don't do anything. You know, I just sort of see what goes on and what they're sort of doing. But that's what's going on here. So, you know, I didn't say much about, because I was going to get shot down in flames, so I didn't bother. I did say something in the very, very first meeting I went to. Oh, no, you can't have it. You can't have common law in Australia because we don't have a monarchy. This is what I'm getting.
And I've got an answer to that. Some mothers do have them. Unfortunately, they give them away, and the world is full of idiots.
The problem is, Barry, they're misleading people.
But we don't need them, and it doesn't matter.
They're misleading. Oh, not for us, but I'm just saying they're misleading people. I'm just in it to learn how to do affidavits and things. But anyway, that's another story.
Well, I don't associate with those organizations, and because basically they're institutionalized in making money, and they're not interested in, and they have all the complaints and all the questions, but they have no answers. And if you give them an answer, it doesn't suit their agenda. They don't want to know. So this have nothing to do with them. The common law court goes back to, well, as I said, in 1066, after the Battle of Hastings, where William the Conqueror brought in the Doomsday Book. He also kept for him a Jewish organization, which were great bankers and still are, and kept great records. And from then on, the common law courts, which were minor disputes in villages and shires, hence the shire, and the head of a shire was called the reef. The reef then became Shire Reef, a sheriff, and he actually enforced that laws. But the records were started in 1066, and still to this day, those records exist in the UK. So anybody who needs a king or a queen, they've obviously got psychological problems, or they've got an agenda where they can make money out of people who believe in fairy tales. The Constitution is very, very important, but it has been removed by the Act of 1986. We are an unlawful republic here in Australia. It really annoys the crap out of me. We have a Royal Commission for the Army, and they're trying to set up the references, which suits the crooked corporations. There is no queen here. You can't have a Royal Commission. So all these little organizations, they have one idea: to make some money and teach the sheep to be a bigger flock. Anyway, David, have you got anything to say on that Anne's comments, which is really is fact?
Yeah, with the like to make a comment on them getting involved with the quantum grammar stuff. I hope they're not learning from Russell, because all of Russell's work is disqualified. He writes like a bad lawyer, and he claims to have brought about the now time part of quantum grammar. The only problem is all his documents, even though he doesn't use a timestamp, he uses a legal a date, which is a legal term, which is a fiction term. All of his writings, according to his legal term date, are in future tense, because 2021 hasn't happened yet. So if he's not using a timestamp saying 2020 on there, and the day, what number day it is, and what hour of daylight, like I showed you guys before.
Yeah.
All his writings are disqualified before even reading the rest of the document, because it's in future tense.
Yeah, well, this group is also referring people to David Wynne Miller and stuff,
Right.
As well, from what I'm noticing, and to watch his videos and watch War Castles and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm noticing. I mean, I saw this a long time ago, all that stuff, but that's for these newcomers. And this guy's going to teach quantum grammar.
Right. The biggest thing about quantum grammar is what I teach everybody are the secrets that David withheld from teaching, because he had a contract to do so with the government, not to disclose things. And I teach the secrets, teach people how to make adjustments from what they were taught into actually making the quantum grammar real, actually written by a man, and means something. You got to, number one, the paper size is wrong. It's got to be a whole number. It can't be 8.5 by whatever. It's got to be an even number. Number two, you can't use a legal date. You got to use a timestamp. Number three, you don't write in black. You don't write in Times Roman. You use Arial narrow or Arial. So, and people very experienced in common law writing already know not to write in black. They know not to use Times Roman. They keep everything left justified. Quantum grammar is the correct way to do quantum, is using all the prepositional phrases and everything in lowercase writing. Don't write in capitals, because that's foreign grammar. You're writing from English to Latin, English to Latin, English to dog Latin. You're breaking up the continuation of fact by changing languages throughout the whole document.
Yeah.
You write in color, keep everything left justified, but use the prepositional phrases. You don't put a full stop until you're done the paper, until after the final timestamp on there. Until then, you use semicolons to continue the document. You don't use a period to stop a sentence. You use full colons. And you can't have extra character spaces. You can't have extra sentence spaces. If you have an extra sentence space, if you want to space things out, then you got to put a / in that open space for drop down.
Okay.
I have notes, anyone who contacts me through that email, republicid2020@gmail.com, I can send you my quantum notes I have shared on previous broadcasts. So you can actually learn. Once you learn how to use the prepositions and stuff, take what I show you and apply it to be correct. I have spoken.
That is fantastic. That's great. Well, you can send me anything you've got on that because
Yeah, I'll
quantum,
send you them. You can share with people. Yeah.
yeah. And quantum grammar, it only applies in the fictional system. In common law, we use everyday terms. We just leave out fictional terms out like person and stuff like that. It's man and woman, basic stuff. But when you're dealing with these fictional courts, the paperwork has to be correct. And if it's not in the correct grammar, they're having a loan of you because they send you out everything in boxes, which is no continuous. But that's another story. We'll carry on with the fighting back in common law. We'll proceed as far as possible. We need a lot more volunteers. Now, when I say volunteers, to turn up for court cases because we need to pick a jury of 12. We'd like to pick that from 100 people rather than 20 people because we have a box where we put the numbers in and people pick it out. And yeah, that's what we did before. We had a ballot box where we put about 50 papers and only 1 to 12 had numbers. So look, we want to do everything and we need a lot of people out there to help us. We need financial help. We want to put a vehicle on the road as well that says the International Common Law Court. And look, it's a slow process, like an acorn. It turns into a very big tree. So let's keep planting. And I hope you guys, David, you get yours off there in Pennsylvania because when the dust settles there, and John Smith will come on and talk to you as soon as he can, as soon as he gets these cases in London, which are very international cases, they're not just UK. He's getting people out of jail who've been really, really, the dirt has been done in a bad way. A lot of corruption involved.
Yeah,
David,
if anyone shows one of a document written by Russell in a court, the judge will say it's gobbledygook.
Yeah.
And they have that military maritime flag on there, which will get you in trouble. They can shoot you on sight as an enemy combatant. And by the way, that flag's owned by the East Indian Trading Company. It's not even the American flag. So why are you putting it on your document? You have to use the sovereign flag that is yours.
Well, this is the flag.
You are your own nation. You use your flag or the de jure flag for your area.
Yeah, well, this is the correct flag of Australia. As I said earlier on, David, they changed this. We've got the blue flag. I must admit, it looks really nice. It's much nicer than this one. But this flag was shot down, but just like that, when Bob Hawke changed the constitution here, made this place an unlawful republic, and they did everything without a referendum. We had no referendum to change the flag, the national anthem, the whole flaming thing. And this has gone on for years, and the people have been brainwashed. And I'd like to say to the veterans out there, which I am a veteran, if you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see the proof of that in the last couple of videos where we've done medal presentations here with the ambassador from Ireland. The veterans have got to get off their asses and stop complaining. Let's do something about it. And the way to fight back is to take these criminals that are in charge of the thing to the International Common Law Court in their private capacity and stop whinging and bitching about the bloody thing. We've got an Anzac parade here, which is the one of the ex-army guys who served their country and died, and a lot of their families have died, to register to go on a march because there's an imaginary bloody virus, which here in Australia, we don't need masks anymore. It's all gone, but they're still keeping that little bit of control. Get off your asses and do something about it. And there's one way to do about it is to fight back this crooked system through international common law.
That British flag in the upper corner, that represents tunnel system under London, right?
Well, the reason the British flag's on there, and that's just in respect to the Constitution, because as an Irishman, the Irish are not really into the royal family, but I do like the Queen. She's a lovely old lady. It's part of the Constitution, so therefore we've got to accept the fact. And she is the head of the state with these criminal politicians. The politicians are not the friend of the people. They're criminals, and they're all guilty of treason in this country, and are prison of treason at least. And the stupid idiots who are still wearing masks in Australia. And I've seen a couple of clowns recently wearing a mask in a car, and there's no need for even no requirements by the fictional governments. It's the corporations. But people are brainwashed, and if you go into a queue of any kind, you'll still see them standing on the markers, so they can't go forward. I mean, how in the name of God can we progress when we're so regressing every step we take? And the schools, the system, the school people wake up. You've got kids in there; they're being destroyed by this crooked system. I'd love to get angry, but I can't be bothered.
Yeah, everyone's MK mind controlled. Um, and the blue medical looking masks, they're all contaminated with a asbestos like substance that'll ruin your lungs. The white masks and the N95s, they have Magellan's disease in them for you to breathe in, all done by design. No other contaminants, just the Magellan's disease. So don't wear any masks. I mean, besides it causing viral and bacterial pneumonia, and I'm not giving you medical advice, but don't wear them. You're endangering your health, no matter what kind of mask it is.
Well, this is the opinion of our personal opinions. You don't have to believe us. We're not in a fictional land at the moment, although my background is really up the road. So this is just basically there to help you guys. The people who are interested are interested, but for the organizations to worry about what we say, well, we're not getting through to the sheep. They don't want to know us. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming on board. David, it's 10 o'clock in the night time over there for you, so you got plenty of time to read and write and make up some more plates. I will put your email address up at the back of this as usual, so people can contact you for emails. Do send out. Anne and I would love to get any notes you have.
Yeah, I'll send you the quantum note.
Okay, well, thanks for coming, guys. We're going to head off now, and we'll catch up again soon. All right, bye for now, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Hi, let's have a look at this new ID card. That's a photograph, just an old photograph. Just need head and shoulders. The name goes in down the bottom here in the correct manner. Again, over here. And the surname, which is the one they use to control you. It's a person. If you believe you're a person, well, the law applies to you. That's the fictional law that is. And of course, the address and this barcode, because all these IDs have an individual barcode, and it's posted out to you by registered post, and that barcode stays with you ever. That comes from Bill Turner's principles, and it really, really works. And on the back of this card, we'll have a look. We stand under common law, and with the claim of the knowledge is with the fact of truth. You see, the truth. You just read through that there yourselves nice and slowly. You see the principles of common law are humanity, caution, and prudence. And down the bottom here, if you look, to act with kindness, humanity, take care not to harm others, prudence, use common sense, good judgment, and be mindful of your actions. So it does explain what those meanings up there. And then it says no contract with fictional laws, no contract with corporations or fictional courts. As a living man and woman, I stand under God's law. It's a fact. And knowledge is the claim. It's all on there. And that's all you need to produce to say, at now time, I am not a person. I am a living man, or I am a living woman.
Sitting here